Well, if we look at the last couple of years, the big trends have been around the rise of social media, analytics, big data, cloud, mobility. But as we start looking forward, really, I think retailers need to start paying attention to the demographics. We're starting to see the rise of millennials. And we know from research that millennials behave differently. For example, they tend to prioritize experiences over material possessions. So it's really important that retailers and brands start a dialogue with millennials now and start infusing digital technologies into their different store formats to really reach to millennials and deliver those experiences. And these experiences need to be engaging, they need to be productive, they need to be interactive, they need to be personalized, and most importantly, they need to be fun. If we look at retail, the two biggest problems in retail are around inventory distortion and brand awareness. So inventory distortion is basically having the right product at the right time, at the right place, at the right price for the consumer. This is a very big problem for retailers. So we have seen key technologies that help solve this problem, right? And one of the technologies, RFID, for example, we have seen case studies where retailers have implemented RFID in their stores and they have seen sales lift that are in the range of 20% or sometimes even more. The second technology that I think is important around brand awareness is that as brands and retailers start delivering these digital experiences to consumers and specifically to millennials, they need to be able to measure the effectiveness of the content, the effectiveness of the engagement. And one of the technologies that certainly helps there is analytics, because analytics can help you by measuring attention span, then you can use it as a metric to understand the effectiveness of your content, and then you can also use analytics to understand how effective your messaging has been with consumers, and what are the consumers that actually like your product. I know sometimes when you just take a look at the solutions, especially new digital technology within a store, at first you start thinking, well, this is really expensive, and if I have hundreds of stores, any number multiplied times hundreds of stores, it's a very big number, right? But if you start looking at these two key problems that retailers have today and the industry has today, with inventory distortion and brand awareness, these are very big problems. For example, inventory distortion, analysts say that this problem, it's a $800 billion plus problem a year. Now, if you look at, for example, in brand awareness, what the analysts are telling us, and there's multiple data points on this, is that about 50% of all advertising that is directed directly to the consumer is ineffective. So if brands are spending in advertising worldwide, $500 billion a year, that means that we're wasting $250 billion. So those are very big numbers. So implementing new technologies that can solve these two primary problems in retail have very strong ROIs. So it's very easy to justify when you have the right technology, solving the right problem, and creating value for the consumer. The first thing that we need to do is not think about the technology for technology's sake. We need to start with what is the business problem that we're trying to solve. So what we do at Intel is we engage with the brands and we engage with the retailers to first understand what is the business problem that we're trying to solve. Now, once we understand the business problem, then we can say, well, what technologies can we apply to solve this problem, but in a way that creates value for the brand, that creates value for the retailer, and most importantly, creates value for the consumer, right? Now, once we define that, then the next step is really to work with the retailer and the brand to do pilots. Because through the pilots, then we can measure the effectiveness. Are we really engaging with the consumer the way we want to? Are we really driving a branded experience with the consumer? So that's what we do at Intel, right? We start with what is the problem first, then apply technology that creates value for the consumer, then we pilot it, and if we have successful results, then we deploy widely with the brand and the retailer. I will give you an example. We in our work with Lego, Lego came to us and basically said, we have a business problem. And their business problem was that in every one of their stores, they have over 200 toys. Now, what do kids want to do when they come to the store? They want to play with the toys, right? But it's not feasible to have 200 boxes of toys open, right? So they engage with us, and we work with them to create a solution that is called the digital box. And you can think of the solution as basically a piece of furniture because it has no buttons. You cannot even tell that there's a computer inside. Basically, this kiosk has a display and a camera. Now, a 2-year-old kid can walk into a Lego store, pick up a box of Legos, bring it in front of this kiosk, and through augmented reality, the kid can now visualize the toy in three-dimensional space. If the kid rotates the box, then the toy rotates in three-dimensional space. And now the kid can also see little Lego figures walking, they can see planes taking off, they can see trains coming in into the station. The kid can now visualize how they can play with the toy. So by developing this solution with Lego, not only did we solve a business problem, but we created value for the consumer. We are here at the show because this is an important show for us, right? A lot of people think of Intel as the company that develops the computing for PCs, for laptops, for servers. And yes, we do all of those things, but we also have solutions within the Internet of Things group that go into a lot of other vertical industries. For example, retail, transportation, energy, healthcare, and many other vertical industries. So one of the reasons why we're here is we want to communicate to the ecosystem, we want to communicate to the retailers and the brands that we have a focus on retail and we're developing platforms and developing technology that is going to help them solve their business problems and create value for the consumer.